You're listening to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of Noise Media Network, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County and beyond. Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land and all of you around the world listening to the sound of my voice. It is a beautiful day here in Gwinnett County. I'm talking about lovely. Do you hear me? 65 degrees going up to a high of 80. The air conditioning got to come on today, y'all. I already know we got to turn the AC on today because it's going to be 80 degrees. And what's crazy is my office is really cool, but the upstairs be really hot. So 80 when the thermostat says 79, it's a really warm day. It's going to be a little scorchy today, and that's okay. I ain't complaining because I love the weather, and it is beautiful, and it's not raining, so that's a good thing. Y'all know today is Talk Tech Tuesday, so in a minute after I do your horoscopes, I'll be joined by my good friend Chris Hood. He is whooping my website into shape, y'all, because I told y'all I had like over 6,000 errors, and I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea what to do with this thing. He and his team are really doing great work to help me fix the Good Morning Gwinnett site, because when you look at it from the outside, it looks great, but behind the scenes, under the hood, a lot was going on. 6,000 errors. That's a lot going on. And as a matter of fact, someone said they tried to email me and said the link was broken. I had a broken link. I had something wrong with the email. I still have a lot of work to do myself, but that's me. Need to bring a VA on. Yes, I've been talking to some VAs. Haven't picked one yet, so I'm still working on that. That's a little hard. You know what I mean? Because when you run your business by yourself pretty much for like 20-something years, when I've been doing this for 24, it's a little hard to turn over the reins to other folks. Just a little bit. I mean, let me tell y'all, when you do anything, it's a little hard to turn over the reins to anybody else. And I'll give you a prime example. So y'all know mostly on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I have to take my uncle to dialysis, right? And so I set him up with transportation, and it was funny because I said to my husband, I said, I feel like I got to put my uncle on the school bus, like his first day of school. So transportation came to pick him up this morning. Of course, they were late. They dropped the ball. I would have been, like when I called them, I would have been gone already. So me not trying to get frustrated so they can take over so I can be free to do the things I need to do, I'm like, okay. They were late, and the first inkling in me was like, take the job back. Take it back from them because they're already messing up right out the gate. And I had to come in and have like a conversation with my daughter, like, okay, all right, I know I need to let this happen so I can do the things I need to do. But I've been doing it for a minute. I've been taking care of him for a long time, 8 years. When we moved to back to Georgia, he and my mom, I took care of both of them. And for those of you who don't know, my mom passed in January this year, and I'm still taking care of my uncle, so it was hard to let go the reins of taking care of him, but I know I need to do that. Same thing with my VA. I've talked to 2 so far. I know I need to let go so I can make things happen, and I'm trying. So anyway, my good friend Chris is here today. He's going to be talking to us more. We talked last week about SEO, and we're going to continue that conversation because we need to understand what keywords are and how to find keywords. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about keywords and the importance of keywords in the content that you're producing and how to put the key. Listen, it's so many little strategies and little tricks and tips and tools and techniques. Listen, it will confuse the best of us. And I consider myself to be pretty tech okay. I'm not going to say tech savvy. I'm going to say tech okay, which means I can pretty much learn anything, but this thing changes all the time. So let me stop talking so I can give you your horoscope so we can bring Chris on and we can talk about, keywords and how to find them, how to use them, how to link them, all that good stuff. But before I do that, today is National Caramel Popcorn Day. If you like popcorn, listen, go ahead and get you some. I told y'all yesterday about me eating, so I was out, my sister-in-law's a Delta, and they were doing a fundraiser for something. I don't even know what it was. People send me fundraiser links. I just was like, okay, I'm support. But they were doing a fundraiser for something. I can't remember what it was. And it was a popcorn fundraiser. And so I was kind of, like, man, I pay $18 for some popcorn. Popcorn, you go to the store and spend $1.99, get you a nice big bag of popcorn, But it was a fundraiser, so that's why I had to pay the $18. But I was hemming and hawing. I ain't gonna even lie to y'all, because I'm like, popcorn? $18? And they had big buckets. They had like $55 buckets. I was like, seriously, it's not that much popcorn in the world. Now, here's the thing. I get the popcorn. It's from a company called Double Good Popcorn. Double Good, y'all need to send me some popcorn because I done talked about you 2 days in a row. That's because the popcorn, y'all, was double good. Bought the popcorn, me, my friend, and got the popcorn. It was sitting in the office with me, and let me tell y'all, the popcorn was so good till I was trying to like type and do stuff, and I had caramel and cheese all over my fingers. I would have to get up, go wash my hands. It slowed me down from doing my work. That's how good the popcorn was. I pretty much ate the whole popcorn bucket by myself. Not at one sitting. It took me about a week, but I ate the whole thing by myself. And my friend texted me. She said, "Hey, did you like your popcorn?" I was like, "Girl, that popcorn was delicious, and it is all gone." She's like, "I know." I was like, "I feel like I need to order another." She's like, "Me too." That's how good the popcorn was. But anyway, I don't know if you had Double Good popcorn, but Double Good is doubly good. It's really good. Today is National Caramel Popcorn Day. Go ahead and knock yourself out. It's also National Student Athlete Day. So I want to give a shout out to my nephews. Well, one is a coach at Florida State. And my brother. My brother's a coach too. And my nephew Jalen, who is a student athlete. He plays football. He's a truth baby. Y'all got to listen. He's going to be playing for Grayson this year. Grayson High School. Listen, I am a football aunt. Those kids play sports, I'm there. I will be talking football every Monday morning when Grayson is playing because I got to come back and give reports. So when school year start off, I be talking about Jalen Bell. That's my little man. He was over here the other day. It's so funny, right? When he was a baby, now he's about to be 16. Is he 16? I think he'll be 16 in November. But he's taller than me, right? I'm a midget under him now. And he says, "I love you, Aunt," with the deep voice. "I love you, Auntie." I'm like, "I love you too, man." So happy shout out to my nephew Jalen. National Student Athlete Day. All right, let's get on to our horoscopes brought to you by Noted Astrologer Micah Thousand for today, Tuesday, April the 6th. Listen, time is flying. It's not waiting on nobody. You hear what I'm saying? We're going to kick it off like we always do, and that is with Aries. You can utilize your versatile mind and dazzle others with your speed and accuracy. Time spent with family, children, or a good friend will be regenerating and positive. Don't be too quick to judge your loved ones. Yeah, don't be too quick to judge now. Or be judged. Watch out now. Don't be too quick to judge. We all guilty of that. We're all of us. We judge quickly. We do. Try not to though. Taurus, your outgoing charm, obvious talents will be admired. You will enjoy interacting with those who come from different backgrounds. Sign up for courses that will bring you more skills. Y'all know what I feel about them courses. I ain't going to call that company name that I call all the time. If they go back and do some SEO on how many times I call their name, they should pay me. Yeah, I keep saying that, right? But I seriously need to reach out to them and say, "Hey, listen, I talk about you guys all the time. Just go back and listen to all my episodes. It's always something in there. Whenever there's a horoscope that comes up about training, I always talk about Udemy. Udemy is not paying me. However, I do like them a lot. And if you want to learn something new, you can go to udemy.com and learn something new. Listen, the reason I say that is because you can really learn a lot on Udemy at very affordable prices. I'm talking about some good stuff. I learned how to do Facebook ads from a training I took on Udemy. Seriously. And then I got 2 clients. And they got, here's the thing. I did it, didn't know what I was doing. Facebook kept denying the ad, right? Until I figured it out. So I went back and looked at the video and saw what the girl did. I was like, oh, I can't have the woman showing her stomach in the ad. That was the thing. But the weight loss company that hired me out of DC, they got people coming in the door because I did a Facebook ad. Now, here's the thing. I don't like doing Facebook ads, so we're going to talk to Chris about that. That's what he and his team do. But I tried my hand at it because the person came to me and said, "Hey, do you do Facebook ads?" And hear me, "Yep, don't know what I'm doing." Went to Udemy, took a class, learned how to do it, did it. She got clients. I was like, woohoo. What was weird, though, is she had a lot of Spanish clients, but the ad was in English. And so on her Facebook page, there were a lot of people in Spanish asking about that program. So I said to her, "Listen, that's your new target audience. Those are the people that keep coming to this page asking questions." And they were asking in Spanish, like, really? I can't speak Spanish. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Gemini, you will have to do a lot of running around, so be prepared to fall short of expectations. You may find that someone at work is holding you back. You can enjoy your involvement in organizations that make charitable contributions. Yes, listen, anytime you can do good, it makes you feel good. I don't care what nobody says. You could be feeling the worst at your worst. Go out and do something nice for somebody and tell me you don't feel good afterwards. Because there's always somebody that are doing a little bit worse than you are. Trust me when I tell you that, always. And even if they aren't doing worse than you are, they may just be having a bad day and you can see it on their face. Say something nice to them. Give them a slice of gum, something. Just do something nice. I'm telling you, you're going to feel better. Now, you might give people a slice of gum out of pack and they be like, I'm not chewing that because it's out the pack. Just buy some packs of gum. Go to the grocery store, get you a pack of gums. Like, you know what? I just feel like I want to put a smile and give them a lollipop. I'm telling you, people going to smile. They be like, oh, that's so nice. I don't know about the lollipop, though. I'd be a little leery somebody handing me a lollipop. I'd be thinking it's lace. It needs to be tightly wrapped and like gum paper, like the package. Yeah, so if you're going to do that, just think about how you do it. Cancer, you can discuss your findings beyond closed doors with your boss. You have worked hard and payback is now. Luck is with you. All right, Cancer, you got a lot of good stuff going on, baby. Luck is with you. Payback is coming. Your hard work is being recognized. It's your day. It's your day. Leo, you would do well if you mingle with the brass today. Take time to explain your intentions to loved ones. Learn and lend an ear to children. It can make a difference. Yeah. Take time to explain your intentions to loved ones. Explain it. They can't read your mind. All right, Leo, explain yourself. They can't read your mind. Let your intentions be known. The only way they're going to know it, you're going to have to tell them. Sometimes people think you can read their mind. They can't read your mind, Leo. You got to tell them. Virgo, involvement in groups will be favorable. Business partnerships will prove lucrative. If you are not already, think about going into business for yourself. You may want to tell someone how you really feel. Now, here's the thing. I will normally talk about the business side of this, but I'm going to talk about the really feel. You may want to tell somebody how you really feel. But here's the thing. Don't set yourself up for failure. You need to have an idea about how they really feel. If it's a love interest, how do they really feel? And you'll know how they really feel because they spend time with you. If they call you back, if they don't turn the ringer off, they really like you. If they take you out on dates, they really like you. But if you got that one that don't call back for days at a time, the ring is off at night, that ain't the one. Don't tell them nothing. Matter of fact, you need to run from that one. I'm just saying. Tell them how you really feel. Now, on the flip side of that, if you pissed out for somebody and you got some stuff you want to get off your chest, take a minute to think about it because once you say it out your mouth, you can't take it back. So you don't want to say something that you really don't mean because you're pissed off. So take a minute, think about it. Now, some people have to do that. I don't have to do that. I think on my toes like that. Some people have to take a day or two to think about it. Now, here's the problem with that. If you take a day or two to think about something, 9 times out of 10, the person that did it to you, they have gone on to do something else, and then you bring it back up, it's going to piss them off. I'm just telling you because I see that happen all the time. Take a minute. Matter of fact, take 2. All right, listen, I'm going to a song. I'll be right back after this song to finish up these horoscopes so we can bring Chris on so he can talk to us about keywords. You got it, baby. Stay tuned.
A 4-letter word. Trust yourself and you get hurt. Tell yourself it's so absurd. 4-letter words. 4-letter words. I hate it when you're like this. You never get excited. Struck by lightning. Don't hide it, no. Don't hide it, no. Soulless man, do you feel it? Love hurts more when you're in it. Yeah. Gravity at its limit. At its limit. Do you feel it? Plugged in
Welcome back. It's your girl, Audrey Bell Kearney, giving you the daily horoscopes brought to you by Noda Astrologer Micah Thyssen. Listen, one of the things I love about this show, y'all hear me say it all the time, is the fact that I get to play great music. I thought that was a good song. It was just really relaxing to me. All right, we're going to pick it up with Libra. You are likely to be left alone if you aren't willing to bend just a little. You got to bend a little bit. You can make a difference if you're willing to stand up and be counted. Be diplomatic when dealing with in-laws. Yeah, be diplomatic. You can make a difference. You got to stand up and be counted. Let me tell you something. Someone told me this a long time ago. I'm talking about a real long time, like 1997. There's like, when you want to be seen, raise your hand, right? When you're trying to get people's attention, you got to stand up for something. Raise your hand. So listen, Libra, you can make a difference, but you got to stand up. Raise your hand. I'm raising my hands. Raise your hand. And let me tell you, that works. I was on a call. And whenever I'm on a call, I always try to raise my hand. Here's the thing. I don't just raise my hand and raise it. I really listen to what the person is saying. And if I have a valid question, I'll raise my hand. But I know that I'm not going to sit on my question because, hey, I need people to know who I am. So you want to raise your hand. Scorpio, don't waste this exciting day by sitting at home. Try to do your job and then leave. Put your emotional energy into passion, not anxiety. Listen, if you're in Georgia right now, it's going to be beautiful. Do not waste time sitting at home. It is beautiful. Yes, go outside. Get into the sunshine. Get you some vitamin D. Get one with the earth. Connect yourself. Ground yourself. Put your feet on the ground. All of that good stuff. Sagittarius, don't settle for less than the best. You can certainly gain popularity. However, don't do it by paying for everyone else. Can't buy friends. All right, Sag, you cannot buy friends. So don't waste your time spending money. Because here's the thing. They're going to hurt you. They're going to hurt your feelings. Don't do that. Your ability to be a self-starter will help you get things done and motivate others. Yeah, you can't buy friends. You can't buy love. You can't buy friends. And if you buy your friends, they aren't really friends. I'm just going to tell you that. It doesn't work well. Capricorn, you may want to get a little extra rest. You are prone to infections and fevers. Try not to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. You would need to finalize important deals today. Get that rest, Capricorn. Listen, it's allergy season. It's flu season. It's not flu season, right? It's not flu. Flu season is gone. We're still in the coronavirus, though. So protect yourself. Get the extra rest. You only get one you. That's it. Aquarius, your lover will be annoyed with your participation. Lack of cash may be partly to blame for the problems at home. Yeah, that could be rough. Your mate is going to want and need some attention. Listen, money problems are one of the top reasons marriages fail. I'm not a marriage expert. I just know this to be true because I've read it so many times before. Money problems. And you know what you could do? If you're having money issues at home, seriously, go drive for Uber. Put your pride aside. Go become a dasher. I don't know if y'all seen that commercial. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen it on TV, but I've seen it on YouTube. And the guy's like, I'm a dasher. So go drive for DoorDash. Just get the extra money. Put it into the household. That way you don't have money problems. Talk it through. Communication. Communicate with your partner. Hey, we're having some money issues. What can we do? Not one person blaming the other person. You're having some problems. What can you do? Sit down, talk about it, come up with a solution for that, and now make the marriage stronger again. If you don't do that, if you don't talk about it and think it's going to go away, it's not. All right? Last but not least, my fellow fish Pisces, pay off all your debts before you go out and celebrate. Yes. Travel for business or pleasure. On my way, baby. I don't know about the rest of you fish, but your girl is on her way. You hear me? I'm going to Arizona for Mother's Day. I'm going to Tulum, Mexico in June for my daughter's birthday. I'm going to Podfest in August, Podcast Movement in August, and I'm going to She Podcast in October. I am on my way. Yes, I am. Don't use emotional blackmail on someone you love. Don't do that, fish. It's going to backfire on you. Don't you do that. All right? All right, that's all the horoscopes I got today. I'll be back again tomorrow to bring you more of the horoscopes brought to you by Noda Astrologer Micah Thyssen. Now, let's get on to the show. I know. It took me a minute. I didn't think it was going to take me that long. I must have was talking a lot. Anyway, my guest today, again, is Mr. Chris Hood. He is the CEO of Conversion Mill. He is going to be talking to us today about SEO. We talked last month about SEO. Today, we're going to be talking about keywords. What the freak is a keyword and why is that so important? So without further ado, I would like to welcome the SEO master to the show again, the Talk Tech Tuesday, Chris Hood. Welcome, baby.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I am great. How about yourself?
Oh, just doing fantastic. It's another day in paradise over here. And, to be honest, Audrey, I think you said everything exactly right in terms of, being a great day, but then some of the insights that you gave on your experiences with SEO and VAs and everything else. I don't know how much more I can contribute today.
Oh yeah.
I'll definitely do my best.
Chris is being modest, y'all. So Chris sent me some talking points. I was like, man, we're going to write a book, but it's already been 1 million books. Not that we can't write a new book, but we're not going to do that. That's going to take me from my North Star. I'm focused. Listen, Chris told me to focus on my North Star. The book is not yet. That's not a part of the North Star yet. So anyway, if y'all don't know what that is, we'll talk about that later. But right now we're going to talk about keywords. So Chris, thank you again for being here. I know you've been doing SEO for a while and you help a lot of companies, including mine, to really clean up some stuff. And so, we hear this word thrown around a lot. Keyword. What is a keyword? How do you find a keyword? How do you know what keyword is? I could go on and on with just keyword questions.
Yeah, and that's, keywords are really kind of the Pandora's box of SEO because there really are no limits to the number of keywords you can try to optimize for, or the number of tools that are out there to help you try to pick the perfect set of keywords, or the strategies that we take to try to optimize for keywords. I mean, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit last month, talking about all the different elements and components of search engine optimization, and keywords are really kind of the if you want to think of it as like the keystone, or the linchpin that holds everything together. Our SEO efforts are things that we do to try to increase our visibility in search engines when somebody searches for a particular phrase. So, for instance, if I go to Google and I type in digital marketing agency, me personally, I want to try to make sure that my website comes up as high as possible on Google whenever somebody in my area performs that search. And so for me specifically, digital marketing agency might be a keyword that I want to optimize. And, the hardest part is trying to find keywords that are going to drive the right traffic, and then doing the research to figure out, what gaps there are on the website, maybe preventing us from actually ranking for those search terms, and then actually doing the work to optimize the site for those search terms. But to get back to answering your question specifically, like what is a keyword? A keyword really is just any word or phrase that is relevant to our business that we want our website to show up for whenever somebody goes to a search engine like Google or Bing or any of the other number of new ones that are kind of popping up recently. And we're saying that hey, this traffic for people looking for this phrase are potentially beneficial and profitable for my business because they, are searches that people would use to find a particular product or service that I sell, or find my physical location to come in and purchase something, or any I guess if we're getting down to the crux of it, any phrase that somebody can type into a search engine to find my business.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you. So right now, let's say, for instance, I want to be found in Georgia. I'm not going to say just Gwinnett. I want to be found in Georgia as a podcast producer. Inside of my where would I put that word to be? When you say optimize, what does that mean? Because let's say I want to be found as a podcast producer right now. Where would I put that word podcast producer? Would I put it in a blog post? Am I sending out a press release? How does that part work? What did you mean by optimize?
So you mentioned two perfect examples of how we would optimize. We would have a blog post or a series of articles on the website that included podcast producer. either in the title or in the content, or even tagging the images that are associated with the article with alt tags and meta descriptions that include that search phrase. And all of those tactics are going to be, they're what we call on-page optimization. And what that means is we are optimizing the content of our website that we own to try to improve our visibility for that particular search term. And then the idea of submitting press releases to other websites like PR.com or any other news sites out there, we would take the same approach in the sense that we would optimize the content of that press release to really drive home the idea that we are a podcast producer, and we would submit that article to other websites that they can then use for distribution through their news channels. And that type of optimization is what we call off-page optimization, because we're submitting content to be published on websites other than our own. And the real benefit in doing that type of off-page optimization is we should be including a link back to our website, in that article, hopefully to a page that talks about all of our podcast producing services and skills that we offer, which is another example of off-page SEO, because now what we're doing is we're getting into backlink building. And that's simply where we put links around the web, targeting specific keywords or search terms that we want to show up for, with links back to a particular page that, again, we want to increase our visibility and show up for. So it's a very multifaceted approach, and it's one of those things that we have to really kind of tackle all aspects of it at once. If all we do is on-page SEO, sure, that's going to benefit us, but it's not going to be as nearly as powerful as if we combine it with off-page SEO and backlink building and some other elements of SEO as well.
So let me ask you this, because I know a lot of times, you hear stuff like, I've heard this. Let me say this. I've heard this. I'm telling you now, I'm a little bit techie, y'all. And I like technology. I love gadgets and all that stuff. But when I looked at SEO, I was like, okay, seriously, I have no idea where to even start. And so when you start getting into keywords, it's like, well, you can't get that keyword because someone is already, I guess they own it, or I don't know, they own the keyword. They don't own the keyword, but they already, it's a word for it, and I can't think of it right now. But let's say, for instance, it was computers, right? And I try to go and rank for the word rank. They already ranking for computers. Like I go and I'm like, well, I want to rank for computers too. Now I got all this competition ranking for the same keyword. How do you pick a keyword that you can actually rank for, that you don't have to compete with the big guys who have major budgets, that could just, like, you never show up because they got major budgets. You want to rank for a specific keyword, but, Microsoft already is ranking for that word. And so you won't show up until like page 999. How does that happen?
Right. And so, yeah, wow, that's a topic we could probably spend multiple episodes talking about. Step one is, we've got to spend the time to do the research to find keywords that we have that are both beneficial to us in the sense that we know that there's a certain number of users in our market area that are searching for that search term. And we also need to do some competitor analysis to see who else might already be ranking well for that search term, and do some kind of deductive reasoning to figure out does it make sense to try to go after that keyword, because even though we have maybe 10,000 users in Gwinnett are performing a search for the word computers each month, you're right, we do have competitors out there with much deeper pockets than we do, that have been in the game for a number of years longer than we have, and have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in trying to optimize their website for that word computers. So it might not be beneficial. Computers might be what we want to target, but it might not be beneficial for us because there's just too much competition and there's too many, we just have too much of a gap to try to close to get to that first page ranking. So then what we would do is we would say, okay, is there something more specific than just computers that we could target? Maybe we're a computer repair company. So then it makes sense, instead of going to try to target the word computers, which is very, very broad, maybe we can go into computer repair and try to figure out, are there phrases around the idea of computer repair or computer repair services that we can target that maybe don't have quite as much competition and still have a high enough monthly search volume in our area to make sense to try to optimize for that keyword. Generally speaking, the more targeted and more focused we can get our phrase that we want to optimize for, the better chance we have for it not being as competitive. The trade-off with that is there might not be as many searches in our area the more specific that we get. So it's kind of a juggling act, how specific do we want to get to try to make sure that we don't have too much competition to try to rank for that keyword.
So let me just make sure I understand. So if I'm a computer repair person and I want to rank for computers is taken, I want to rank for do you have a computer problem with your Chromebook HP in Gwinnett County?
Right, and I would say that search phrase is hyper specific. When you start bringing in brand names and model numbers into the phrases that we're trying to optimize for, it may be really, really easy to capture that number one, that kind of the holy grail of positions, which is page one, rank one on Google. Mm-hmm. However, it may be that only 5 people in Gwinnett County search that phrase each month. So while we rank really, really great, we're not going to see any benefit in the terms of traffic, or we may, but it's only going to be 1 or 2 clicks possibly per month. And then when you start factoring in conversion rates, so we do a good job of getting the traffic to the website. But then how well do we convert people? And what I mean by that is get people to actually take action. You fill out a contact form on the website or initiate a phone call to the business. On average, a good conversion rate for a website is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 to 5%. So if we're on page 1 of Google for that search phrase that you mentioned, and we are able to capture all 5 of the users who perform that search every month and get them through to the website, we're only going to convert about 3% of them. And if we do some simple math here, it would take close to 20 months of being on page 1 in the first position of Google.
How many months, Chris? Your phone breaking up a little bit. I missed that. You said it's going to take
20.
Wow, that is 20 months, and that's just with organic, like with one keyword, or is this a whole keyword campaign?
Yep. For
your phone going in and out.
So
yeah, it's kind of going in and out. We're having oh my God, this was such a great conversation. That's this freaking technology for you. Okay, say something. Let me see. Can I hear you? Try again. Yeah, I don't know. It's not. It's kind of going in and out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is terrible.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's great. I hear you fine now. Now it's fine.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right.
So, to answer your question, is that 20-month window? Is that for one phase of the optimization, or is that an ongoing campaign? And that would be, it would take 20 months for that specific search term that you mentioned. So the computer repair services for my HP, whatever laptop near me. If only 5 people are doing that search per month, and our conversion rate is 3% for the website to get people to actually pick up the phone and call or come into the store, then it's going to take 20 months to get 100 users to the website using that optimized key phrase that we're optimizing for, which means over the course of that 20 months, we're going to get 3 to 5 phone calls.
Wow.
So and that's what I'm saying is it's kind of a juggling act, between trying to find keywords that drive a whole lot of traffic and keywords that don't have a whole lot of competition, so that we actually have a chance to rank for them. So there's a lot of research that has to go into, finding the right keywords for me and my business.
Wow. And so I sit here and I think about, listen, guys, I'm going to be using my company as a test case, because I realized when I got all the reports that Chris sent me, it was just a lot of stuff that was going on. And so, I've been doing Good Morning Gwinnett now almost 3 years. And it's pretty much been me doing the podcast, and, I'm writing some blogs about what's happening around Gwinnett County. And then I talk about business. And so I'm probably not ranking for anything, because I'm to me, I feel like I'm all over the place. I think the only consistent thing that probably pops up in anything is Good Morning Gwinnett, because it's kind of like in a lot of stuff. So for people who are listening to the show and they're saying, well, I don't even know what keyword I should be ranking for, how can they even go and find, is there a tool or a technique or a strategy to even go and do research on keywords? I know Google has a tool, but one time I thought it was free. Google keyword something. Where can they even begin to look for a good keyword to try to rank for in Google? Because 20 months is a long time. I'm not going to even lie. I don't want to waste no time, trying to rank for a keyword that's going to take me 20 months. Heck, I might be going to shut the company down by then.
Absolutely. So Google's Keyword Planner is a fantastic tool for doing your initial keyword research, and it's a part of the Google Ads platform. Now, you don't actually have to advertise with Google. You don't have to pay them money for their ads to be able to use the Keyword Planner tool. You do have to have a Google Ads account, though, which is free to set up. And once you set it up, you can start using their Keyword Planner tool to essentially build a list of what we call seed keywords. And these are our starter keywords that we're going to research and investigate and figure out, does it make sense for us or not. And so we can put that list of seed, or starter keywords into Google Keyword Planner, and it's going to spit out a number of suggestions of variants of those search terms that we're researching. And it's also going to give you forecasting estimates to show how many people actually search those search terms in a given area, whether that's a city or a state or nationwide, whatever size market you're trying to go after. It's important to remember, though, that Keyword Planner, Google's Keyword Planner, is only going to provide information on searches performed on Google. So we're leaving out all the other search engines in there. Now, Google does own the lion's share search market, at be to 83% of all performed on Google. It's expectation. The numbers that we, the vast majority for that key.
Mm-hmm. So now, with that being said,
again,
with Google owning the lion's share of the, the search, should they go? Is there a keyword? Let's say, for instance, I go to Google, I set up an AdSense account, I do my keyword research. I found that this great keyword, I don't know, HP computer repair, and now I'm optimizing for Google. How do I go and optimize for Bing? Like, do I take the same keyword, or is there a different search criteria on Bing than there is on Google?
So there's a number of really great tools out there that are going to give you, blended results in your keyword research across multiple search engines. So things, tools out there like Ubersuggest or Ask the Web, or there's so many ones that pop up from time to time, and they're going to give you kind of a more holistic picture of what happens across the entire internet with searches, and you can use that information from those tools to try to figure out how you should optimize for Bing or Yahoo or other search engines that are out there. And one thing that we've kind of discovered in the time that we've been doing SEO is people on different search engines have different levels of intent, for the same keyword. And what I mean by that is we've discovered that even though Bing only owns about, 12 to 15% of the search share out there, people who perform searches on Bing are actually about 16 times more likely to take action after their search once they find a website. So what that means is, Google gives us all the visibility, but Bing users tend to actually convert into customers or into users who take action at a much higher rate than people who use Google to find information do.
Now, why do you think that is? Because that's interesting. Because I'm thinking, everybody wants to get in the number one page on Google, but if Bing is converting better, why the heck would I spend all this time on Google? I should just be over on Bing.
Well, that's a really great question, and it's one of those things. I think if I had to, and this is me speaking from my gut here, if I had to if I had to provide a guess there, I would say a large part of wanting to rank number one on Google is some of his ego. We want to see our business show up on position one, page one, even if it doesn't mean anything in terms of actually driving business and customers to my store, and that's okay. We just have to understand that it may mean exactly that it's a vanity thing that we want to rank number one on Google for the search term, even though we're not really getting anything out of it. A lot of people, I think, just forget about other search engines because, Google has become so ingrained especially in the U.S., and in everything that we think of when it comes to online. I mean, Google is a verb. If you want to find if somebody asks you, what are the hours of this business, you reply with, "Oh, I don't know. Why don't you Google it?"
Mm-hmm.
And that hasn't happened for any other search engines. I mean, nobody says go Bing it,
Right, that's true,
or anything like that. It's always Google because we've just come to kind of incorporate that search engine in so many facets of our life.
That's true.
Now, the data shows us that we probably should be looking at other search engines too, but because they own so much of the market share for search, it's easy to overlook these other guys, which is good and bad. It's good in the sense, it's bad in the sense that we're leaving out, 15% of all people who do searches online. But it's good in the sense that it means a lot of our competitors aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to start, experimenting and performing optimization experiments on these other search engines to see how they compare in terms of conversions and traffic and actually driving revenue for the business. And there's no real best practice to say if you're doing well on Google, you need to also replicate your efforts on Bing, because they are different monsters altogether.
Mm-hmm.
We've had campaigns that are extremely successful on Google that are complete flops on Bing because it's a different type of user. Whether it's the users tend to be older or different education levels or demographics. They're just different, and so you can't just rubber stamp what works on one search engine to another search engine. It's going to take some trial and error, and that takes work.
Now when Facebook first came out, it was a college platform, and then it became the mother's platform where all the old women hung out at, right? And so
right.
What you said brought up an interesting question. Now we know Facebook is still very powerful, but it was like, yeah, if you were like 18 or younger, or 25 or younger, you were on Snapchat, which I was not there. I was there for like a hot second. Is there data out there that show that there are a lot more seasoned people on Bing and everybody else is on seasoned, and then people that just love Yahoo that's never going to leave, kind of like Apple? Are they on Yahoo and Bing has like that whole Microsoft, I love Microsoft crowd, and Google has everybody else? Is data showing that? Is there some data showing that type of scenario?
Yeah, so there are a lot of really great reports that give insights into different demographics of the users that use Google versus Bing versus other search engines, and all of that is very public information. It just takes a little bit of research to dive into white papers issued either by Microsoft or Google or whatever platform it is that you're trying to research, and they will give you a breakdown to show like these are our primary user metrics. Now, it's going to take some individual experimentation for the business to figure out, are those people on these other platforms right for me? As business owners and entrepreneurs, we always have this kind of gut feeling that, my users want this, or my ideal person, my ideal buyer is, this age and lives in this area and, all of these other things. But in reality, we only know that through data. And if we're not recording the information of people who come through to our websites so that we can run reports and definitively show that, hey, my users are between 35 and 45 and have a combined household income of $250,000 and are college educated and all that, then really all we're doing is guessing if we don't pull those reports and look at those numbers for ourselves.
Wow. So again, a lot of work, especially if you're not tech savvy. I consider myself a little bit, but I can just imagine a person that's not tech savvy at all going, oh my God, like I have no idea what he's talking about. My head just blew up just from this last 20 minutes they've been talking, and it's a lot, and it's so crazy because, we want to have successful businesses, and there's so many little pieces that go into, driving traffic to the website, finding the perfect person to talk to. I can tell you, Chris, honestly, it has taken me 20 years. Well, that's not true. When I was doing my dog company, it took me about 4 months to figure out who exactly I was talking to. First, I thought I was talking to black women because I was a black woman, and that was so far from the case. I was talking to middle-aged white women, and I only learned that because I went to a conference, and that was the line that was in my line. I'm like, wait a minute. It's all white women in this line, and they're only blind my black doll. And I was like, and I had this act, and so just to give you a prime example, Chris, and so it was easy for me to do market research that way. With this whole digital thing, you would think it would be a lot easier, but I gotta tell you this quick story. So the first thing I ever really did, I called my real business, Chris. I invented the first plus size fashion doll, Georgette and I. And so we were black women, so we felt like, well, we're black women, our target audience is black women. That's what we thought. And so I would do all these shows, and then I started to notice that there weren't black women buying, like not a lot of them buying the dolls. So I had a black doll, a white doll, and a Hispanic doll, Deja, Dina, and Dawn. That were their names. And so I would do these shows, and I would have a line of white women. And I'm like, okay, so now why do I have a line of white women? Till it got to the point one day, I was at a doll show, and the vendor next to me, she was so pissed off because I made my dolls, so I signed them, because once you get a sign, like if you don't know anything about collecting anything, my dolls were collectibles. So whenever I did a show, I would sign the doll's foot. So when the person got their doll, they would have one of 850 signed by me. And so I was signing dolls, and I had this long line. Everybody else didn't have a line. So finally this woman came up to me, and I said to her, I said, listen, I got to ask you a question. And it may sound really crazy. I said, but everybody in my line is white. I said, and they only buy my black doll. And she looked at the white doll. Now, she was a white woman. She says, oh, yeah, she's just a big, ugly white girl. We don't like her. And I said, why not? Now, mind you, they were made from the exact same mold. The skin tones were just different. They hated Dawn. They would not buy her. They was like, she's ugly. It was the same mold, Chris. And I thought that Dawn looked beautiful. She had blonde hair, green eyes. They hated her. And they said, oh, but Deja's so exotic. They wouldn't buy Dina. The only reason they bought Dina, and this was market research, the only reason they bought Dina was because her name was Dina and because she had on the color purple. They only bought Dawn if they were buying a complete set because they wanted the complete set of dolls. They bought Deja just because she was exotic looking to them. It was the craziest thing. So it was easy for me to figure out who my target was there, because now I realize, okay, it's not black women because they're not buying. So I have to go to doll shows where they're white women. And when I learned that, I sold completely out of my collection. It has not been that easy online for me. And I told that story to say it has not been that easy, because it's like, okay, who's my avatar? You know, who am I talking to? How do I target the audience? What keyword do I need? Do I need long tail keyword, short? What does all that stuff mean? That is a lot for an entrepreneur these days. I just feel like even though it's a lot of information out there, it's just a lot to comprehend and wrap your head around. So, you know, we're almost at the end of the show. Listen, we're going to continue this conversation next month with Chris. I'm actually thinking about, we may need to do a webinar, just because it's so much. Like, SEO is just a lot of stuff. And Chris was talking to me off air, and he was saying how quickly everything changes with the search engine. So you may learn something, right? And then next week it may be something different. So, can you give the people a couple of steps that they can start right now if they cannot hire an SEO marketing company like yourself, a digital marketing company like your company, Conversion Mill? What can they do right now to at least jumpstart their efforts and getting started on the right track? And at some point, you know, preferably they can put a budget in place where they can say, you know what, I want to do this. Let me just call Conversion Mill and they can handle it for me. But in the meantime, I need to start somewhere. Is there a couple of bullet points that you can give them, like where they can start, like right now?
Absolutely. So there's a couple of things I would highly recommend anybody who owns a website and wants to use it to drive a business to do. Start by filling out we have a great worksheet that's our ideal buyer persona worksheet that we give all of our clients to help them really nail down the exact person that they're trying to target. It includes every single thing about this person, not just your basic demographic data like age, gender, location, but what kind of car do they drive? What type of sports do they follow? To really paint a picture of a person, not a group of people, but an actual person. So, like, for instance, if we are trying to target somebody who's in wholesale distribution, we might call this buyer persona Distributor Dan, and he runs a warehouse that's 40,000 square foot and ships all over the country, whatever his widgets are, and this and that, and he drives this kind of car, and he went to this college, and he likes football and whatever, so that we really get a deep understanding of who this person is that we're trying to target. And the next step would be to start doing your research to build up that list of 10 to 15 seed keywords to get us started. And these keywords should be the search terms that people are going to use when they actually want to find the products and services that we sell. So if my widget is a fidget spinner, this orange, and whatever other characteristics it may have, how would I, as a user looking for that fidget spinner, actually go online and find it to buy it? And start with those phrases as your seed keywords, and start optimizing for that list of 10 to 15 keywords. And there's a couple of things that you can do, today to start optimizing, and a lot of it revolves around content. Making sure that we have pages on our website that include those seed keywords that we want to optimize for. Create blog posts that include those seed keywords, that we want to be found for, because in the world of SEO, content is king. In fact, we just published an article through our email news list this morning talking about that exact thing. Content is king. If you don't have the content on your website that talks about orange fidget spinners, nobody's going to find you when they start looking for places to buy orange fidget spinners. So you got to have that content out there. And then start researching opportunities to do guest blogging, where you can submit your articles to other websites that are talking about, cool widgets to buy. And make sure you have backlinks back to your website. There's a number of, actually, there's tens of thousands of directories that you could submit your products and your services and your business information to with backlinks, trying to get more traffic around the web to come back to your website. And then you're kind of leveraging their SEO, because they want to get found for stuff too. And if you can include either a guest post article or some type of product listing submission or whatever with the backlink, back to your website, you can actually leverage the SEO work that they're doing to drive traffic back to your website. And then probably the most important part of all this, though, is make sure that you have a good reporting strategy in place and look at your reports regularly. Reports and the data that you get from your efforts are going to set you free in terms of knowing whether or not what you're doing is working. If you do all this work but you don't track anything, then it's really, you're kind of doing work for the sake of doing work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go back and regularly look at the data and say, yes, this worked. No, this didn't work. We need to abandon the strategy and pick up this next set of 5 keywords that we want to optimize for, because what we were doing previously didn't get us anything.
So, quick question for you, because this is so let's go back to my podcast producer. So, I'm a podcast producer. I produce a hyperlocal podcast. I am learning how to optimize my website. I want to help other podcasters and optimize their websites so they can draw more traffic to their websites. How do I even know? Because you said, do the persona, the questionnaire, right? Are these the things in my head that I want to see when I do the persona questionnaire? Like, okay, so prime example, let's say I was focusing on nonprofits, right? I would say I want to do a nonprofit that has 3 employees. They have a budget. They have an annual budget of $100,000. They have a donor list of 3,000. How do I know that information? Am I guessing that information, or am I pulling that information from somewhere about my avatar? How do I know how many employees they got, and how many donors they have, and how many kids they got, and how long? Am I pulling that information from somewhere, or am I just making that up?
It's going to be a combination of both. The thing about ideal buyer personas is when we draft this document, it's not necessarily someone who's buying from us currently, but we're trying to define, of all the potential people out there that could buy from us, this is the perfect customer. And they're perfect because they are college educated. They, are married with 2 kids, and they live in this area, and they have this type of job, and all these other contributing factors that make them the ideal person. And some of it is going to be, who do you like to work with? Some of it is going to be budget and revenue driven, because it doesn't make sense to have a perfect customer who doesn't have a budget to spend with you. So those are going to all be considerations that have to come into building that ideal buying persona. And the other cool thing with these exercises is we can have more than one ideal buyer out there. It doesn't, we don't have to restrict ourselves to one specific person. If we want to work with nonprofits and for-profits and wholesale distribution facilities and whatever else, we can build an ideal buyer persona for each one of those vertical markets that we want to target. It's just important that we know who our ideal buyer persona is for each of those separate markets.
I think that's so important. I think that's so key, because I think it's almost like, and I was telling this story, I don't know, I think it was last week, but yesterday, I think we talked about it yesterday about gifts. I think people think that I have to have one persona, one avatar. I can't have any more. And that's what kind of gets them. Because look at me. Like, if you look at Good Morning Gwinnett, I talk about business. I talk about, now we talking tech, which is under business. I interview people on Thursdays. I talk about what happened over the weekend on Monday. And so for me, I honestly felt like, okay, I'm never going to get this right, because I talk about so many different things on my podcast. So, and then you see stuff when people say, well, if you talk about cocktails a day and somebody came to your website for the cocktail and then they come back tomorrow and you talking about car parts, you're just going to turn people off. And so, and this is me doing research, trying to make this thing work. I'm like, oh my God, well, these are the things that I love to talk about. This is the life that I live in Gwinnett County. And so how am I just going to talk about, just parts, because I'm at the park on Saturday, but I'm at this great restaurant on Sunday. So how am I going to do that? So what you just said, Chris, made so much sense to me, and I'm sure it's going to be an eye-opener for other people. And just to reiterate what he said, you can have different avatars, different buying personas. It does not have to just be one. You just have to make sure that your content and your keywords is catered to that group when you put it out. Am I correct in saying that?
You nailed it.
Okay. And let me tell you, to me, that's like, whoo, I feel better, because it's like, okay, I have this lifestyle blog and I have, all these things that I want to do. And Chris and I were talking offline. It's like, and I don't want to have 12 websites, because this has always been the other thing. Well, if I'm talking about marketing, I need to have another website just about marketing. Now I got to go over there and manage that website. I was like, I don't want to have all those websites. I want one website where I live. I want my one house. I live in one house. I sleep in one house. I want one house where I live, right? And I was like, I want to do the things I like on this site, on Good Morning Gwinnett site. But I was struggling with, okay, well, if I'm writing about just business, then I'm leaving out this group over here. Now I don't feel that way. I feel like if I have something to share about podcasting and SEO, I can. And if I have something to share about your best life, I can. And it all builds around this whole, living your best life, business, work, play, all that whole thing. So I feel so much better about that. I got one last question before we go. I knew we were going to go over time. I knew it. And I was like, I got to go. But I got one last question, Chris, because this is a biggie.
Sure.
And this is a content question. And I want somebody to answer this question for me and the people that's listening. If I create videos, right, and my site allows me to add a high-def video directly into the site, not a link from YouTube or Vimeo, but the link, like the video is directly embedded into the site, will that slow down my site? And also, will that rank in the search engines that way? Not, how you do a video and they say, okay, put the link in there, do the embed code. Is there a difference? Because I know if you're hosting on YouTube, but you put the embed link in there, it does something. But what if I don't want to go to YouTube and put an embed link in there, and I just want to upload it directly to the website? Does that have any bearing on the speed of the website and the ranking in the search engines? I know that's a loaded one, I know.
Yeah, so there's a lot of variables in that question, but let me see if I can tackle it bit by bit. So the kind of the overarching question is if I upload videos directly to my website, not using an embed code to embed from a third-party service like YouTube or Vimeo or Muse AI or anything like that, is it going to slow down my website? And the best answer I can give you is maybe. And it really depends on how robust your server is, and is it optimized for hosting video, and are you using a well optimized? And we're talking about performance here. When I talk about optimization, am I using a high performing video player on my website? If the answers to all those questions are, I've got, a scaling cluster of servers that can scale up and down depending on how much bandwidth is being utilized at any given time, and I've got a load balancer in front of it, and all these other things, and I'm using a good player for doing streaming, then odds are it might not slow down your site at all. It's going to use a lot of bandwidth, which a lot of hosting companies do charge by how many like CPU clock cycles you use per month, and how much storage space you use on their servers per month. Videos are huge, and they take a lot of bandwidth to deliver to the end user when they push play on your website. Okay. And so it could result in a lot of additional charges each month because you're using a lot of storage space and using a lot of bandwidth. From an SEO perspective, are you gonna have the same impact and the same benefit as using a service like YouTube or Vimeo? And the answer there is no. You actually cut yourself out of being able to leverage YouTube and Vimeo and even other like platforms for your video. What I would recommend doing, unless there's specific reasons not to do this, I would use a service like Vimeo or YouTube so that you can make sure that once you upload your video, you also have an SEO optimized description and even possibly a transcript of the video on their service, and with backlinks, pointing back to your website, because now you run the possibility of having your video show up on multiple places if it's optimized well enough across the web. So, and what I mean by that is if I go to Google and I do a search for podcasting producers or tutorials on how to do better podcasts, now all of a sudden I can get my video to show up on YouTube. I can get my video to show up in the results on Vimeo, and I can get the results to show up on my own website. So now I've got 3 different opportunities to get people to watch my content. Whereas if I'm hosting it all on my website, on my server by myself, I've only got 1 opportunity.
Makes sense. Now listen, I'm going to stop you right there. I hate to cut you off. Listen, we're going to come back next month. We're going to talk about video and video SEO. Because Chris said some stuff, and I know a little bit about it, but I ain't going to get into it because I got to go. But Chris, next month, we're going to talk about video and video SEO. And I know, listen, guys, it's a lot of content out there. And it's really good to be able to talk to somebody in person and live who can answer your questions. And so, Chris, that's what we're going to talk about next month. So the first Tuesday of every month, we talk tech with Chris Hood. We're going to talk about video and video SEO. What does that mean? He just said, about why you need to have a YouTube channel, Vimeo channel. I have all them channels, right? But I have been hesitant about putting video on my website because embedding it directly on the website, because I was like, okay, what if it slows my site down? So we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about how to leverage video to help us drive SEO and drive traffic back to our website next week. Until next time, Chris, how can they reach you? And when Chris tell you how to reach him, I'm going to play my last song and I got to shut it down for the day. So how can they reach you, Chris?
Absolutely. So anybody can email me directly at chris@theconversionmill.com, and that's just CHRIS at theconversionmill.com. Visit the website, The Conversion Mill, and browse all the content that we have there and walk through some tutorials. If they have questions, there's contact forms all over the site they can reach me directly at, or just pick up the phone and give me a call at 770-322-4975. And I always love questions from users. And I would highly encourage anybody, if they have questions about content that we talked about today, or even questions that we can cover in the next upcoming episode. I know, Audrey, you post your podcast every day to your website. Leave a comment in the website, and we'll make sure it gets answered.
That's right.
In our next call.
That's right. Listen, thank you again so much. Always such great information. Man, I'm so glad we started doing this, because I learn something new every week, and I'm sure my audience appreciates you, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there. They may not be as techie as I am, and certainly not as techie as you are, but you have made it so they can understand this stuff a little bit better. And here's the thing. If you're listening to what Chris is saying, you say, you know what? I know he knows what he's talking about, but I just don't want to learn how to do that. Just reach out to the Conversion Mill. He and his team will they're hooking me up. You know what I'm saying? 6,000 errors. And I'm going to tell y'all like what happens after that. They're fixing it right now. And when I saw that report, I said to my husband, I was like, oh my God, my website got over 6,000 errors on it. And he was like, what? Because Chris, he knows that I'm always saying, oh, I'm doing something to the website. And he said to me one day, he's like, well, how many times can you make changes to the website? This is what he says to me. I got mad. I was like, what do you mean? You don't understand business. It's always a work in progress. So I got mad about it, right? And then when I told him I had 6,000 errors, I don't think he'll ever ask me that question again. It was hilarious. But listen, reach out to Chris and his team. Let them help you get SEO optimized. Let them help you drive traffic back to your website, especially if you're really trying to build your brand and get it out there. They're helping me. And I'm excited that he has even taken the time to come on here Tuesdays, the first Tuesday of every month. If you missed last month's episode, go back to March and listen to it, because he gave some great information there. Be sure to share this show with some of your friends, because I know if you're an entrepreneur, you got some entrepreneur friends who are struggling right now. Share the episode. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give it 5 stars. Chris, thank you again. I look forward to talking to you again next month. We're going to be talking about video and SEO and how we can use both of those to drive traffic back to our website. So thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
All right. Enjoy it.
And like I say, if
go
you
ahead.
have any questions, leave us something in the comments, and I'm always happy to help.
All right. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too. Thanks.
All right. Listen, guys, I'm going to my last song. I'll be back to shut it down because I got to go. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
Caught by a feeling, goes beyond the right or wrong, gets me what I want. I'm hanging by a string,
So listen, guys, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. My friend Chris Hood is an SEO master, as you can tell from the content that he's shared with us over the last 2 episodes. And I'm so excited that we're going to be doing this. We're going to keep it going. So the first Tuesday of every month, be sure to tune in and listen to Chris share his information about, how to drive traffic to your website. That's why you have a website, because you're doing business and you want people to come to your website and buy your products and services. And the way to do that is to be smart about it. You can work hard. Listen, I've been working hard my entire life. It's time to work smart, and that's why I have enlisted the help of those who know what I don't know. I don't know SEO. Chris does. His team does. I need a VA. I can't do it all, so I'm hiring one. You have to work smarter, not harder, and especially if you're trying to grow and build a brand. Next month, the first Tuesday of next month, that's the month in April, we're going to be talking about video SEO. Why? Because video is important. I love video, but I just have not figured out how to crack the case when it comes to putting it on my website. Chris kind of shared a little bit about how we can do that now, but we're going to go in depth. We're going to go a little bit deeper next month with Chris about video and how to leverage SEO with video. So make sure to tune in next month. I thank you so much for listening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you spent the last hour and 19 minutes with me, and I appreciate you. Before I go, I want to give you my word of inspiration for the day, so here goes. Try not to become a man of success, but rather to become a man of value. Let me say that one more time. Try not to become a man of success, but rather a man of value. Albert Einstein said that, and he was absolutely correct. I know that we have a goal of being successful, but success means different things to everybody. It doesn't mean the same to everybody. It means something different to everybody. Here's the thing, provide value. I do this show 4 days a week because I want to provide value to you, the listener, value to you, the business owner, value to you, the person that's looking for a great place to vacation, value to you that looking for a great place in Gwinnett County to come and eat, the best parks. I want to provide value in the interim. Because I am providing value, I know this is going to be a successful brand, right? The goal is success, but I know I have to provide great value. My guest today, the guest that I have on Thursdays, great guest. If you missed my episode last week with Chris Stone, I'm surrounded by a bunch of Chris, y'all. Chris Stone, Chris Hood, Chris Scremitsos. I'm surrounded by Chris's all over the place. If you missed my episode last Thursday with Chris Stone, check that episode out. Chris is an entrepreneur right here in Gwinnett County. He's a podcast master. He's doing great things on Amazon Live. I was on this show on Amazon Live. Yes, you can stream live video on Amazon Live and feel like you're on the HSN channel. Check that out. Be sure to follow all of these guys because they are helping me. We're helping you, and we want you to show some love to them by following them, leaving comments, asking questions, and sharing their information out with your network of people. Thank you again for listening. I really love and appreciate you for that. I'll be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m., God willing. Listen, kiss your loved ones, hug them if you can, tell them you love them. And until next time, stay safe out there, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Make it a great day. Bye now.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you like this episode, subscribe now and share with your friends. To learn more about Noise Media Network, visit noisemedia.us.